Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss beat Florida last night, final score 34-24. But I don't want to react to the game so much as I just want to unpack the latest thoughts that I have around Lane Kiffin and the desire, pretty obviously, from the powers that be and the fan base that be in Gainesville, Florida, to make Lane Kiffin their next head coach. Spoiler alert, I don't know why Lane Kiffin would leave Ole Miss. We'll unpack all of it right now. Before we do that, though, if you're a Florida fan hate watching or hope watching, we love you all the same. We will talk about who your next head coach is, whether it's Lane Kiffin or whether it's not. If you're an Ole Miss fan, you're like, hey, we got college football playoff aspirations here, JD. Talk about that. We'll do that as well. So make sure you're subscribed here to the On3 YouTube channel, College Football. Nothing but college football year-round. Couple disclaimers to start. Florida, if you can get Lane Kiffin, that is a home run hire. If you get Lane Kiffin and you commit to the Lane Kiffin experience, you can win national championships. Hear me very clearly. That is a good idea to hire Lane Kiffin. If you can get him there, more power to you. If you can get him there, you embrace him, even more power to you. All of this is at your fingertips, Florida. Hear me very clearly. That's disclaimer number one. Disclaimer number two, Ole Miss. If he wants to go to Florida because it's Florida and the heart wants what it wants, I don't know what to tell you. Because I can break this down for what I think makes sense for Lane Kiffin, what he's done at Ole Miss, why he wouldn't leave for Florida, maybe why he shouldn't leave for Florida, all that. But if he wants to go because it's like, dude, that's Florida. I love Steve Spurrier. I want to be in Gainesville. Again, just palms up. That's life. It'd be like that sometimes. But here's my take on this after watching Ole Miss beat Florida last night. I get the game was close. I get that final score of 10 points. Is it indicative of how that game actually went when it comes to Florida being up and it's a 3-point game in the fourth quarter? All that. I understand that. Here's my thing. Last night was further evidence for me, if I'm Lane Kiffin or I'm a college football fan in general and I'm an Ole Miss fan in general, it's Florida, quote unquote, isn't a good enough reason anymore to leave Ole Miss. A couple of years ago, it would have been. The resources at Florida, the brand power at Florida, all that. It would have been a good enough reason to leave. Ole Miss was a lesser job than Florida. Keyword, was a lesser job than Florida, especially for a one Lane Kiffin. Just won by 10 points with a Division II quarterback, Ole Miss, Coach Kiffin. It's not like Florida is just horrifically down bad when it comes to what their roster is built like. Like, that would be one thing. If you're playing Florida and they're recruiting outside the top 25 and they don't have what they need at quarterback or they don't have enough on the line of scrimmage, we just can't find a way. Florida just, if there were this exciting home renovation and you saw all the bones and you saw the foundation and you could, really go in and attack and recruit better, like that'd be one thing. Florida's got a good roster. Ask every single head coach that plays them. Go back and listen to press conferences from Cristobal, from Kirby, like Elko, every single coach is like, it's a good roster in Florida. A lot of guys are going to play on Sundays at Florida. And you just beat them with a Division II quarterback and another group of transfers. You have what you need at Ole Miss. You have what you need at Ole Miss. I keep on saying this. And I think it's interesting when you listen to other people and what they're saying about Kiffin in relation to other jobs, specifically the Florida job. Joel Klatt, everyone knows who Joel Klatt is, does a phenomenal job covering college football for Fox, has his own podcast, and also calls Big Noon. He went on Pardon My Take, the Barstool podcast, as well as his own podcast, and kind of said the same thing. Ole Miss, according to Joel Klatt, has said, Lane Kiffin, write a number down, blank check. Whatever you need to stay here financially, you let us know, we'll make that happen. Joel Klatt also said LSU is in a similar boat. Tell us what you need, write down your number, we'll make it happen. The way that Joel Klatt worded Florida's position on this, on the Pardon My Take podcast, he said Florida is, quote, they're hemming and hawing. If I'm Lane Kiffin and I hear that, or if that's the way that Florida is operating, not 100% sure, kind of waffling, we don't know what to do here, I'm out. I'm all the way out. Why? Because I just proved last night with my Division II transfer quarterback, I don't need you. I'm not desperate. If I was down bad at Ole Miss, we were hitting our head on the ceiling, winning 9 games, just can't find a way to break through, got to get more, maybe it's a different conversation. We just beat you by 10 points. I don't need you. I have the high ground. Florida, you need me. And so if you're not 110% sure about me, I'm out on this, dude. I am walking. And to be real now, if I'm Florida, if you're hemming and hawing before entering into the Lane Kiffin experience, I don't know if the Lane Kiffin experience is for you. Now, maybe you say, well, when we hire him, we're all the way in, and at that point in time, we're committed to Lane, we're committed to his way of doing things. Okay, I see that train of thought, but I'm just looking at this thing from the outside and how this whole thing, equation-wise, is shaping up. It's like when you go out to a concert with your friends. If you're not 110% excited about going to that concert with your friends and going to see that act, you're going to be there if you kind of are hemming and hawing, to use Joel Klatt's verbiage here. When you get there on a Friday night, don't really love the band, you weren't really all the way in on it to begin with, you just kind of liked the idea of it, you're going to get through that opening act and be like, what? Why did I do this? This may not be for me. Same thing with the Lane Kiffin experience. If you're hemming and hawing at the front, when it gets to Lane Kiffin being your head coach and he's tweeting different things, operating at a press conference a certain way, you're hemming and hawing on the front end. I don't know what that means for you when you get to those moments. If he's tweeting and not hitting the recruiting trail the way that you expect, he's more portal heavy, and you're winning 8 games, 9 games the first year. Like, again, I'm just saying I don't know how that whole equation would shape up. Hemming and hawing on the front end is not usually a good sign. So last night, again, to put a finer point on this, last night to me, if I'm Lane Kiffin, is proof that at Ole Miss, I have what I need to compete at the highest level. Because I think anyone that coaches in P4 college football, much less the SEC, or you coach college football in general, you're a competitor. Competitors just want to know, does it come down to me? Do I have everything I need to win at the level I expect to win at? And Lane Kiffin beating Florida last night, I think is proof. Yes, you do, Lane Kiffin. You do have what you need. And I don't think we should excuse either the conversation with Chris Lowe and Nick Saban, On3's very own Chris Lowe, mind you, and Nick Saban. Nick Saban was pretty quick to say, I don't know that Lane Kiffin needs to leave somewhere else for a quote-unquote better job. I'm paraphrasing here. Lane Kiffin might already have a better job at Ole Miss. And I say that because anytime you talk to folks around Ole Miss, you hear about how Lane Kiffin has, in a very wise sense, tried to, copy's the wrong word, but he's tried to follow the blueprint that Nick Saban set out when he was at Alabama and Lane Kiffin was on his staff. Like, he watched the way the greatest of all time did things and is now mimicking a lot of those things. And so that should speak to the affection that a Lane Kiffin has for Nick Saban and thinks of Nick Saban. I think that whole train of thought from Nick Saban is not just being excused by Lane Kiffin. I think that Nick Saban saying that, whether it ever is something Lane Kiffin would admit outright or not, I think that has to factor in, even in the smallest sense, to your way of thinking around leaving Ole Miss. I don't think you need to be happier than happy. And if it's me, if I'm Lane Kiffin, I don't think, hear me clearly, I don't think you need to or should leave Ole Miss. And last night's result is more evidence to that. So again, if the heart wants what it wants and Kiffin wants to go somewhere else, I'm not here to tell you I know exactly what Lane Kiffin's thinking, but looking at what all the facts are on paper and looking at that win last night for Ole Miss, you got what you need, Coach Kiffin, and I cannot wait to see how this whole thing unfolds over the course of the next few weeks and beyond. Florida fans, let me know your thoughts on this. Ole Miss fans, you as well. College football playoff run looks to be inbound for the good folks in Oxford. For Cato on the ones and twos, for myself, J.D. Pickell. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We will keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.